Welcome to Life Stories Network. I appreciate you being here. This story will challenge your view of trust and family. It will show you how one financial hit can expose the truth about people you think you know. It started with a single charge on my card. That charge pushed me into a decision that changed my entire life. I grew up as the older sibling. I learned responsibility early. I paid my bills. I handled my life without asking for help. When my sister got married, she struggled with money. She asked if she and her husband could stay with me for a short time. I agreed because I wanted to support them. They said they would pay rent. They did not. They said they would cover groceries sometimes. They did not. I told myself they would get stable soon. I let their promises slide because I valued family. I ignored the stress. I ignored the slow buildup of resentment, convinced myself that patience was the right choice. My house became their comfort zone. They used everything freely. My space, my time, my resources. I tried to speak up a few times. Each time they said they were working on a plan. They said they would improve. I believed them. I believed because I wanted peace. I believed because I wanted to keep the family together. I never expected what came next. One morning I checked my email. I saw a message from my bank. Said my card had been charged $12,700. The charge was for a luxury international resort. I felt my stomach tighten. I thought it was fraud. I thought someone hacked my account. I called the bank right away. They said the charge came from my saved card information. They said the card number was used through an online booking system. They said no physical card was required. Only a few people had access to my saved information. My sister was one of them. I tried to stay calm. I called her. She did not answer. I called again. She still did not answer. I waited 10 minutes. Then she called back. She acted normal. She acted like nothing had happened. I told her about the charge. She stayed silent for a moment. Then she said she'd already booked the trip. She said she needed a break from stress. She said I had money. She said I should understand. Her tone shocked me. She did not apologize. She did not ask for permission. She did not show guilt. She acted like I owed her the vacation. I asked her why she used my information. She said it was simple. She said she deserved it. She said she felt tired of life and needed something nice. She said the trip was important for her happiness. She said it was already finalized. I could not speak for a few seconds. I felt anger build inside me. I felt betrayal. I felt used in a way I had never felt before. I asked if she understood the amount. She said it was fine. She said I would manage. She said it was not a big deal. I realized at that moment how far the disrespect had gone. She saw me as a safety net. She saw me as free support. She saw me as someone she could take from without consequences. That was my mistake. I allowed this pattern. I created this environment by giving too much trust with zero limits. After the call, I walked around my house. I looked at the items she used every day. My furniture, my kitchen, my supplies, my utilities. I remembered all the times I helped her without asking for anything back. I realized she never appreciated any of it. She valued comfort more than respect. She valued ease more than honesty. I sat down and thought about my life. I noticed that I was always the one holding everything together. I covered extra bills. I solved problems. I supported both of them while they stayed comfortable. They never planned to leave. They never planned to grow. They stayed because I made it easy. I understood that now. The charge pushed me into clarity. I decided to take control again. I decided to stop the pattern. I decided to end the cycle of giving without boundaries. The first step was simple. I called a real estate agent. I asked him to come the next morning. Told him I wanted to sell my house. He agreed to meet. The next day, he arrived to take pictures. My sister walked into the living room. She saw the equipment. She asked what was happening. I told her I was selling the house. Her face changed fast. First confusion, then panic, then anger. She said I could not do that. I said it was my house. She said she lived there. I said that was the problem. She said I was being dramatic. I said she stole from me. She said it was not stealing. I said it was stealing. She said she had a hard life. I told her everyone has a hard life. She said I should understand. I told her understanding had limits. She called my mom. My mom called me right after. She raised her voice at me. She said I was breaking the family. She said my sister was young. She said I needed to forgive. She ignored the fact that my sister used my money. She ignored the fact that I had supported them for years. She focused only on the consequences, not the cause. That phone call opened my eyes even more. I realized people will protect comfort before fairness. My mom did not want conflict. She wanted the easy path. She wanted me to accept the loss. She wanted me to ignore the disrespect again. I refused. My sister tried to convince me to delay the sale. She said she needed time. She said she would pay me back. She said she made a mistake. Her voice did not sound sorry, sounded scared. She feared losing the house more than she feared losing me. That told me everything. The real estate agent listed the house. I received offers fast. My sister kept pretending the situation was temporary. She acted like I would change my mind. She acted like the house would stay in her control. She acted like everything would reset. She did not understand that I was done resetting. The day the offer was accepted, she finally realized the truth. She came into my room crying. She asked me to stop. Kay, she said the house felt like home. I reminded her that it was my home. She said she never thought I would do something like this. I said I never thought she would steal from me. She did not respond. By the end of the week, she started packing. She avoided eye contact. She blamed stress. She blamed her husband. She blamed life. She blamed everything except her actions. I stayed calm. I spoke very little. I wanted peace. I wanted closure. I wanted my life back. That was the beginning of the turning point. The moment when everything shifted, the moment when I chose myself instead of enabling the cycle again. The moment when I understood the cost of unchecked generosity. The moment when I realized love without limits becomes permission for disrespect. The house sold faster than I expected. The buyer wanted a quick closing. I accepted the offer. I felt a mix of relief and pressure. I wanted this chapter to end. I wanted to remove the stress that lived inside those walls. I wanted a clean break from the pattern that drained me for years. My sister thought I was bluffing. She convinced herself that I would stop the sale. She kept acting like everything was temporary. She made small comments about future plans in the house. She talked about furniture that she wanted to move around. She said she found a rug she wanted to place in the living room. She behaved like nothing had changed. It showed how disconnected she was from reality. She believed the house belonged to her more than it belonged to me. That belief came from comfort. It came from entitlement. It came from years of me enabling her. My mother visited a few days after the listing went live. She walked inside with a tense expression. She looked around slowly. She asked me if I was serious. I said yes. She asked why I had to take such a big step. I reminded her of the charge. I reminded her of the lack of respect. I reminded her of the promises that were never kept. She tried to defend my sister again. She said everyone makes mistakes. She said I should show compassion. I told her compassion does not mean allowing repeated harm. She did not like that answer. She said I changed. I told her I grew tired. My mother left frustrated. She said she did not want to pick sides. She said she wanted unity. I wanted unity too. I wanted peace. I wanted trust. I wanted balance. Things did not exist in my home anymore. They'd been gone for a long time. The charge only exposed the truth. The chart showed the real state of our relationship. My sister and her husband stayed quiet for a few days. They packed slowly, they kept to themselves. The tension was heavy. I stayed focused on moving forward. I looked for a smaller place. I wanted something simple. I wanted something that did not carry memories of stress. I wanted a home that reflected my needs, not my responsibilities toward others. One night, my sister knocked on my door. She asked if she could talk. She looked tired. I could tell she was overwhelmed. She sat down on the edge of my bed. She said she never thought I would take things this far. I told her I never thought she would take my money. She said she made a bad choice. She said she acted out of frustration. She said she felt trapped in life. She said the trip was her way of escaping pressure. I listened without interrupting. I wanted to hear her reasoning. I wanted to understand what led her to cross that line. She said she felt like I owed her comfort because I was the older sibling. She said I always had things under control. She said I always looked stable. She said she assumed I could handle the hit. That sentence stood out to me more than anything else. She assumed I could absorb the damage because I had done it before. She assumed my strength was endless. I explained that her actions broke the foundation of trust. I told her that respect is not optional. I told her that I supported her for years. I told her that I deserved honesty. She cried. She said she knew. She messed up. She said she did not think the damage would be this big. Okay? She said she hoped I would forgive her quickly like I always did. I said forgiveness takes accountability. She looked down at her hands. She said she did not know how to fix things. I said she needed to start by taking responsibility. She asked if canceling the sale was possible. I said no. The contract was signed. The deal was locked. She got quiet. She realized the finality of the situation. She said she felt scared. She said she did not know where she would go. I told her she had time to find a place. I told her I would not leave her on the street. I told her she had to move out because staying would keep the cycle alive. A few days later, the moving trucks arrived. The buyers wanted possession soon. My sister watched the trucks from the hallway. She looked upset. She kept wiping her eyes. She carried her boxers out slowly. Her husband avoided me the entire day. He did not speak a single word. It felt like he blamed me for everything. He did not see the damage they caused. He saw only the consequences they faced. My sister asked me to keep a few things in storage for her. I said yes. Did not want to be cruel. I wanted to maintain some level of humanity. This situation was painful for all of us. I did not want to make it worse. I just needed distance. I needed space. I needed a reset that did not involve constant taking. My mom came on the last day before closing. She stood in the empty living room. She looked emotional. She touched the walls and sighed. She asked again if I was sure about moving. I told her yes. She said the house held many memories. I said the memories were mixed now. She understood the weight of that sentence. She did not argue. She hugged me for a long time. That evening, my sister sent me a long message. She wrote about her childhood. She wrote about the times I protected her. She wrote about moments when she relied on me. The message sounded emotional, but it still lacked full accountability. She mentioned stress. She mentioned pressure. She mentioned confusion. She avoided admitting that she made a conscious choice to use my card. I replied with a short message. I said I needed time. I said I needed space. I said I hoped she learned something from this. She did not reply after that. The silence felt heavy, but also peaceful. It felt like the first quiet moment in a long time. Closing day arrived. I signed the papers. I handed over the keys. I walked out and did not look back. I felt a mix of sadness and relief. I felt like a weight lifted off my chest. I felt ready to rebuild. I felt ready to start fresh. I moved into my new place that same evening. It was smaller and simpler. The air felt clearer. The silence felt safe. I unpacked slowly. I breathed deeply. I felt like I was taking control of my life again. I realized how long I had been carrying emotional weight that did not belong to me. That was the next turning point. The moment when I understood that letting go is sometimes the only path to growth. It marked the beginning of my new chapter. It set the stage for everything that happened next. The first weeks in my new place felt unfamiliar. I enjoyed the quiet. I enjoyed the control. I enjoyed the ability to manage my space without stress. I woke up each morning without tension. I cooked without feeling watched. I worked without interruption. I started to understand how much emotional noise had existed in my old house. I spent years adjusting my life to make everyone else comfortable. Everything felt stable. My sister reached out again after a few days. She sent a short message. She asked how I was doing. She said she and her husband moved into a small apartment. She said the place was not perfect, but it worked for now. She tried to sound positive. I sensed uncertainty in her words. I told her. I hoped things improved for her. I kept my message brief. I did not want to restart the same pattern. I wanted to protect my peace. My mother called me a few days later. She asked how the move went. I told her everything was fine. She asked if I missed the old house. I said no. She took a long pause. She asked if I felt lonely. I told her I felt calm. She said she still wished things had gone differently. I said I did too, but the situation left no choice. She understood but still defended my sister. She said family needs patience. I said patience should not cost self-respect. She grew quiet. She said she hoped we would heal. I said healing starts with accountability. A week later, my sister asked if we could meet. She said she wanted to talk face to face. I agreed to meet her at a small cafe. I arrived early. I sat near the window. She walked in, looking tired. She sat down and avoided eye contact at first. Then she said she wanted to apologize properly. She said she understood the pain she caused. She said she knew the charge was wrong. She said she realized how far she crossed the line. I listened. Her tone sounded more sincere than before. She said she relied on me too much. She said she never learned to handle pressure. She said she used me as a shield from the world. She said she expected me to fix things. She said she thought I would always catch her. She said she felt ashamed. I felt the weight in her voice. It sounded honest. She continued. She said the trip she booked was canceled because the bank reversed the charge. She said she lost the reservation fee. She said she had to explain everything to her husband. She said he was angry. She said they fought for days. She said the situation pushed them into reality. They realized their habits were draining their future. She said they started budgeting for the first time. She said they applied for better jobs. She said they wanted stability. I appreciated her honesty. It felt like she finally recognized the damage. I told her I forgave her. I told her forgiveness did not mean things would go back to how they were. I told her I needed healthy boundaries. She accepted that. She said she did not expect everything to reset. She said she wanted to rebuild trust slowly. I agreed. We talked for an hour. We discussed childhood memories. We talked about the house. We talked about how we grew apart. We talked about expectations we never addressed. It felt like a real conversation. No excuses, no blame shifting. It felt like the first honest moment between us in years. When we finished, she looked relieved. She said she wanted to earn back respect. She said she wanted to stand on her own this time. I told her I wanted the same for her. We walked out of the cafe and went our separate ways. I felt lighter. A few days later, I settled into a new routine. I took walks in the evening. I cooked healthier meals. I organized my space. I explored hobbies I ignored for years. I felt like I rediscovered parts of myself that had been buried under responsibility. I realized how long I had been running on emotional survival mode. The quiet helped me think clearly. My sister visited my new place after 2 weeks. She asked if it was okay before coming. I said yes. She arrived with a small gift. It was a simple item, nothing expensive. It showed effort. She said she wanted to start fresh. She looked around my apartment. She said it fit me better than the old house. She said it felt peaceful. I agreed. She said she was working a new job. She said she was saving money. She sounded proud. I felt proud of her too. We talked for a while. She apologized again. This time her voice did not shake. It sounded steady. She said she learned the value of boundaries. She said she understood why I took strong action. She said the move forced her to grow. She said she needed that push. I did not expect to hear that. It showed real change. My mom joined us later. She brought food. She walked in and smiled when she saw us getting along. She said she wanted the family to feel whole again. She said she hoped this was a new start. It felt like progress. She thanked me for listening. She thanked me for being patient. She thanked my sister for taking responsibility. It was a simple moment, but it mattered. The following months felt smooth. I kept my boundaries clear. My sister respected them. She asked before visiting. She paid back small amounts over time. She stayed consistent. She worked hard on her relationship with her husband. They handled their own bills. They made their own choices. They built their own life. I supported them from a distance. Felt healthy. My mother also changed her tone. She stopped defending behavior that caused harm. She understood the importance of accountability. She understood that peace requires balance. She appreciated the growth in all of us. I learned many lessons during this journey. I learned that generosity without limits becomes harmful. I learned that people will take comfort when they see no boundaries. I learned that responsibility can turn into burden when you carry it alone. I learned that change requires decisive action. I learned that self-respect starts with clear decisions. Selling the house was the hardest choice I made. It forced everyone to face the truth. It removed the safety net that kept the cycle alive. It created space for rebuilding. It helped me find peace. It helped my sister grow. It helped the family reset. One evening, I sat in my new living room. The window was open. The air felt cool. The room felt calm. I looked around and realized I finally felt at peace. The chaos was gone. The pressure was gone. The emotional weight was gone. The decision that once felt painful now felt right. My sister called me that night. She said she got a promotion. She sounded excited. She said she wanted to celebrate. She invited me to dinner. I smiled. I told her I would join. It felt good to see her succeed through her own effort. I realized the journey was not about losing a house. It was about gaining myself back. It was about choosing peace. It was about building healthier relationships. It was about learning what I deserved. That was the moment I understood the full meaning of growth. It does not come from comfort. It comes from decisions that protect your future. It comes from boundaries that guard your peace. It comes from choosing yourself when no one else does.